Oh. Thank you very much. That's an area in Union Station right there. A lot of films have been shot in that space, and they even did the Academy Awards in that room one year during the pandemic. Anyway, there's some event going on in there tonight. This is Union Station, downtown Los Angeles. I want to talk about an event I did go to on Saturday. It's called the Hollywood Show, and it was at the Marriott Hotel at the Burbank Airport, and it was the first time I'd ever been to an event like this. And it was basically an autograph signing show with some Q&A. And a friend of mine was visiting from Florida who used to live here. He was also a landlord of mine and roommate at one time. And he used to work as a stuntman for Nick Nolte, Gary Busey. He also did some acting parts, like he was in the first two original Star Trek movies. He was one of Khan's henchmen in the Wrath of Khan. And also, too, he was Jerry Lee Lewis's road manager in the 1990s. That's how I got acquainted with Jerry Lee Lewis, obviously the 50s rock and roller, Great Balls of Fire, etc. Anyway, that's a whole other story that I told in another blog. But so he was there to sign autographs, and I also talked to a lot of other people who were there, and saw some people that I didn't get a chance to talk to. Some that you might know from the golden era of television and movies, and all the way from the 60s to the 90s and 2000s, I would say. And I talked to actually even a musician, Freda Payne, a jazz singer who had a big hit in the 70s called Band of Gold. Since you've been gone, all that's left is a band of gold. All that's left of the dreams I hold is a band of gold. Yeah, if you've ever heard that song. Yeah, it was an interesting conversation. She talks about recording her latest album, which is a jazz album, and how she also recorded at Motown, and that particular song there had become a hit for her. But she's technically more of a jazz singer. I also talked to William Shatner's three daughters who were there. His middle and age daughter, Elizabeth. I told all of them that I auditioned for Star Trek 5, and I was told that if you're picked for the movie to play an alien, it would be 2 weeks in the Mojave Desert with William Shatner, her father, as the director, and of course the cast, other parts of the cast. And I wasn't picked, but I did get to go to Paramount Studios to the Star Trek office, and that was in a bungalow on the lot. And she acknowledged, she realized that I knew what I was talking about. She said, "Well, I actually went to the location in the Mojave Desert, so I know what you're talking about." And I noticed that when I was in the audition, there were lots of drawings of what the aliens would look like, and they gravitated towards people that had odd-shaped heads. And I guess my head wasn't odd-shaped enough or weird-shaped enough or whatever. I was too normal, I guess. And Elizabeth Shatner, said, "Well, maybe it's a godsend that you didn't go, because even though it was a great experience, I was there to do some writing about it." And she said, maybe it was a godsend that you didn't get that gig because everybody complained, because there were sandstorms in the desert, and everybody complained about getting sand in their eyes and nose and mouth and all that. So that was an interesting conversation. I also talked to one of the cast members of Too Close for Comfort, who my friend Tim knew, and I talked to her. She was really friendly. I talked to one of the cast members of Planet of the Apes. I talked to Ed Begley Jr., who I had interviewed at one of the Green Festivals about 10 years ago. And he was one of the stars of St. Elsewhere. He was one of the Spinal Tap drummers that spontaneously combusted. That's what I was trying to think of. And I told him that I saw a little bit of that in one of the trailers of the film, and he hadn't seen it. Erin Murphy, I talked to her at the Hollywood Show. She played Tabitha Stevens on a show called Bewitched that was very popular in the 1960s, and she talked about how it was great working with Elizabeth Montgomery and Agnes Moorehead on that show, and she said there was a lot of concern at the time about whether a paranormal kind of show, about witches on primetime TV, how that would go over Middle America. And as it turned out, it was just fine. It was a very popular show, and I remember watching it as a child, as she was back then in the 60s, and it was a lot of fun. I saw Barbara Eden from I Dream of Jeannie, but I didn't get to talk to her, but I did talk to her personal manager, and she told me some interesting stories about Barbara, and that she loved working with Lucille Ball, and also with Gene Kelly, and danced with Gene Kelly in a film. And I saw Richard Dreyfuss, who I really loved in Close Encounters of the Third Kind film. He was also in Jaws. This is the 50th anniversary of the original Jaws movie. I can't remember, but I didn't get a chance to talk to him. But I saw him. Saw the guy that played Michael Myers in the Halloween movie, Behind the Mask. I talked to Bill McNamara and Vincent Spano. They were Chris Hunks, in some of those, 90s movies, 80s and 90s movies like Rumblefish and stuff like that. I saw the Livingston brothers from My Three Sons. People, just sharing their personal lives, what's going on in their lives now, and it was just a nice afternoon to spend with a friend, and then have that kind of experience at a Hollywood show. So anyway, I had to talk about that a little bit, and have a great day wherever you are, and stay present in the moment always.